first of all, what we're going to cover today, I'll just remind you that, as always, we have videos now on the website that you can go back and revisit. So if you run your log in, of course, to the site, and then run your mouse over the VisionWorks menu and go to Presentation Builder videos, you'll see that there are 4 videos that cover the topics that we're going to run through today. First thing I want to do is familiarize you with the new Presentation Builder software. So similar to Portfolio Builder, what we elected to do was to create a separate software, and you can see the Presentation Builder video or icon on your desktop. So when you update to the latest version, you'll see that icon. And the reason we chose to do this is because report settings really represent branding. And whatever settings you have, colors, fonts, logos, and so on, will apply equally to VisionWorks, CorpWorks, and TrustWorks. So once you've established your settings, set everything up, then you just need to do it once, and it will apply to all 3 programs. The other thing is, of course, we've substantially enhanced the features, and included in that is a preview window on the right. So whatever you might do in the way of selecting colors or whatever it might be, what you'll see is immediately the look and feel that you're going to get in the actual report. So I'm just going to go back to my custom blue color. So you can see that you can set the font for the main text, point size, user information, font, and point size. And you can also control the text on the main page, financial plan, or retirement and assessment, retirement and estate assessment plan. Now you'll notice only on this tab, the cover page tab, that there are also CorpWorks and TrustWorks tabs. So that allows you to change the text that's displayed on the main page for a CorpWorks or TrustWorks plan. All the other features are common to all 3 softwares. One of the things you can do if you wish is add a graphic, so I'm going to do that now. So I'm just going to click the change button and put in this vision graphic at the top of the page. If we go to cover page logos, I'm also going to add our little coastal wealth management logo, so you can see it's in there now. And when you click save, whatever changes you put in not only are displayed in the preview window, but if you run a VisionWorks plan, and I've just got a few sections selected for it, what you'll see is that whatever changes you make in Presentation Builder will then immediately appear when you run a VisionWorks plan. So we'll see the cover page come up in a moment. So you can see we've got our graphic in and now our logo. And of course, if I were to remove those, then they would no longer appear. So let's just run through a few other things. Titles. In the past, we've always used title bars. So this is a blue title bar. We can set all the colors and fonts and so on here. And if I wanted to make that white text on the blue background, you can see I can select the text color and so on. But what we've also done with this release is gone to the ability to get rid of those title bars and just use text. And that text, of course, can be any font, any point size. You can make it uppercase text if you like, and so on. And then also the ability to control the subtitle text color and font. If we move on to headers and footers, gain the ability to control the font, the point size, and add logos if you wish. Now, I'll remind you that our suggestion would be if you do add logos to the header and footer, that you only add them to one, and that the logos aren't too tall. If you add two logos, and if they're tall, it really reduces the page space for output. So just keep that in mind. Let's go to text blocks. The font you choose for the text block, the point size will appear here if you make any changes. And then we substantially enhance the ability to format tables and graphs. So you can see here the header for the table is blue. I'm using white text. And then the subheader labels are gray with white text on them. You can also see that I can control the lines in the color of the lines in the table. So if I want to soften the look of the tables, I can use a lighter gray. I can make the table text a darker gray rather than black. And then you'll notice in some tables I can apply alternating rows of a specific color if I want. So I'm just going to go and make those a light gray alternating row. In some tables as well, there are some shaded areas, so you can control that background shading. And then finally on this tab, one of the things you can do is control whether or not you want access lines to appear. So in this case, I've actually removed them. It gives a lighter look to the plan. So I could go in and say, no, I want dark gray access lines or whatever the case might be. I'm going to remove those. And then finally, on the print tab, you'll remember that you have the ability then to go in and put in all your contact information. And again, the print preview window will show how that looks. Excuse me. And you have, if you're a paraplanner, the ability to prepare a number of report prepared by profiles. So if you're doing plans for different advisors, you just go in and select, the particular advisor's information. So let's save that, and then we'll just go and run that file again. I just selected a couple of sections and subsections so you get the idea of the look and feel that will now be generated in a plan. So what you'll see, of course, is that we're using title text rather than title bars. You'll see the header and subheader look and feel of some of the tables. And then also in one of the tables I've selected, you'll see the alternating gray shade rows. So again, we have our cover page. And then if I page forward, you can see now the look and feel of the table, much lighter, the light gray lines in the table, the gray text, the table header with the colors we selected, the subheaders, and so on. And if I go forward, you can see a table where I've applied alternating grayscale or gray shading to alternating rows. So let's go into talk mode, and we'll entertain any questions you might have.
The conference is now in talk mode.
So, questions? Everybody's clear on this? Lots of flexibility in the look and feel of reports.
Does this replace the need to save the settings and then import them on all machines, or where is this being saved then?
Very good question. You still will need to save settings, so you can see it here, save to file. And then when you do save your settings as a VSR template, then yes, if it's being used on different machines, you'll have to import it and load it. But again, it's just created in one place and then just loaded in whatever other computers you might be using. Yes, it still has to be on the particular computer. So that's the reason for saving and then loading. Any other questions? All right, well, let's move on to the next thing that I want to show you, which is PowerPoint presentations. So I've got a little sample plan here, Bill's career. We've added an option to the options menu. By the way, you might notice the look of the software is quite different. One of the things we did was we added a new color scheme, which we call Smart White. And we think it looks a little more modern and up to date, so you'll see that I'll be using it. But wherever you are, when you go to options, there's now a new presentations menu item. And when you click it, it opens a PowerPoint presentation dialog box. So the steps involved to run a PowerPoint presentation are quite simple. First of all, we've built a number of PowerPoint templates, and we'll talk about those later, but you have the ability to edit those. You can hide slides, you can add slides, you can do whatever you want to do, change the text colors, add logos to slides, change the look and feel of the graphs. For instance, you might prefer a 3D look to the bar graphs. We've kept the templates that we created very basic and straightforward. But when you want to run a PowerPoint presentation, you'll see both the ability to run one and save one. When you want to run a PowerPoint presentation, you just, in the particular file, select whatever solution you wish. And then what you do is you select the PowerPoint presentation that you want to run. So you can see here, for instance, there's a basic VisionWorks template. There's one that includes corporations and trusts. So if you, for instance, are working with a client who has a corporation but not a trust, you could either hide the trust templates or simply copy this, delete the trust templates, and then just create your own VisionWorks plus CorpWorks template. You can see that there are separate templates for the CorpWorks output, TrustWorks output, and then also for retirement assessment and retirement and estate assessment plans. So what you need to do is select the template that you want to run, and we'll look at those a little more later. And then you can either use the formatting in the PowerPoint template, or you can use the PowerPoint formatting for all the tables and so on that we've created. So I would suggest this is what you want to use by default. And also what that will do is then pick up the color scheme that you're using in VisionWorks for the different output series, income, assets, cash flow, and so on. And that will ensure that the look and feel of your presentations is consistent. With Bill's career selected, the basic template selected, I'm now going to run a PowerPoint presentation. Now you'll remember at this point, we're not only taking the PowerPoint template, but we're now populating it all with data in this particular file. So it doesn't matter which plan you open. All you need to do is run a template, and then for that plan in that particular solution, you'll populate it with all the data. What you can do, of course, if you're working with clients, is you can, instead of running a PowerPoint presentation, you can merely save one, and then when you meet with clients, you just open that saved PowerPoint presentation, and again, you'll avoid having to go through the assembly process. But in our particular case, I wanted to assemble everything. I see I've still left things unmuted, so. Now, what we've done in the way of templates, there may be other things that you want to do, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But it's completely up to you what these PowerPoint presentations look like. Virtually any output in the software can be added. So I've added a cover page graphic, which you may or may not want to do. And then I'll just scroll down. You notice the ability to put in family photos if you want. If you don't want, you can get rid of this. again, the family tree, you may want to just hide this slide. And if we page down, we've started with the current net worth, what's your starting point. So we see a table and pie graph of assets, table and pie graph of liabilities, and then a current net worth statement that amalgamates the two and shows assets and liabilities. So there's the client starting. And then if we go down, the next thing is, can you maximize wealth by saving taxes? So this is going to compare the taxes for the initial vision with taxes for the current solution. And we can see the average and marginal tax rates for bill between the two. So again, I won't go through all the content today, but just give you an idea of the sorts of things that you can put in if you wish. I've included a tax return, which you may or may not want to include. And then if we go down, I've done the same output for Sue. And then I've created a slide which I call Converting Wealth to Asset Sales. So what we can see here is a piece of art that I have modeled in the sample plan Bill's going to sell later in life. And the consequence is that it adds to his non-registered portfolio. So you can directly relate asset sales, such as downsizing a house in retirement, to the impact on income assets. Not an uncommon thing for people to do later in life in Canada. And then we have the income plan showing the different career income and non-registered portfolio, pension plans later in life, and so on. Current spending plan versus the initial vision, so there may be changes. In this case, I didn't make any actual changes to their spending. And then spending over time, so we can see the different sources. And then a combination of their income and spending plan forecast, and then the cash sources and uses in retirement table. And then an income assets forecast. Will you be okay? Well, the bottom line is, will your income assets last? So we can clearly see that's happening. And in this particular slide, what we're doing is we're comparing the income assets in actual dollars with the income assets in today's dollars. So you have tons of flexibility to put in virtually anything you want in the PowerPoint presentation. And then an income assets forecast using a stack bar graph, comparing the initial vision with the current solution. A net worth forecast, again, actual today's dollars, stack bar version of it, the net worth comparison between the two solutions, and then estate output if you wish. So you can see the family tree, and then the different terms of the will, who are the beneficiaries of different assets, etc. The estate residue for distribution, the estate value that's going to be distributed, and then I've included an estate map which shows in this particular case that Sue is the beneficiary of all of Bill's assets and what the different amounts are. And then the same estate summary for Sue. I won't spend any time on it. And then finally, the estate liquidity and charges over time for both Bill and Sue. And then protection planning. So you can see a life insurance analysis, disability. And I want you to notice that when I did this, prepared this, I only did the calculations for Bill. So if Sue's values are not calculated, it will just say not calculated. So you can see that that's the case also for critical illness long-term care insurance. And then I did an insurance needs analysis for Bill only. I didn't do it for Sue, so you could see what you get when you do it for Bill, but not the other. And that's the slideshow. So again, you can include whatever you wish, and then you can go in and edit the slides however you want. So I want to show you how relatively easy it is to create what are called PowerPoint tags so that you can get the look and feel you want from a PowerPoint presentation. So in Presentation Builder, you go to PowerPoint. Now, I don't want you to be overwhelmed, but these were the tags that I created for that PowerPoint presentation, including different ones for retirement assessment plans. So for those, I just essentially want to look at output from retirement on, so they're a little bit different. And you can see that you need to create tags for VisionWorks, CorpWorks, or TrustWorks. So you just select the appropriate tab. And then to create a tag, all you need to do is click the Add button. And I'm going to create a tab or a tag based on the report. And specifically, I want to create a tag that will give me the protection planning, the insurance needs in the form of a to-do list. So you select the type of output you want, whether it's a table, so this is conventional output, assets, liabilities. If I scroll down, you'll see sources of income, uses of let me scroll further, uses of income. So all the conventional output. You can create tags for family trees, estate maps, or you can create these more specialized tags, which might be things like the to-do list for protection planning actions, net worth statement, whatever. So I'm going to create a tag just for the protection planning actions for the current solution. So I select it, and then I need to give it a name. Now, this is a little bit of code that just identifies the type of a tag that's being created, whether it's VisionWorks, CorpWorks, or TrustWorks. And so I'm just going to call this to-do list PP for protection planning actions. So you can call it, whatever you want. And then I'm going to copy it, save it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open PowerPoint, open that basic template we've been working with, and then after that use slide, I'm just going to insert a slide. So all I do is, click the position of the slide, select New Slide, and then I'm going to select Title and Contents. And then the question is, do I want to insert a table or do I want to insert a chart? So all I'm going to do is select Table, and you'll notice the number of columns and rows and so on. It's irrelevant. You don't need to worry about that. So I'll click OK, insert a table, and then all I'm going to do anywhere virtually is post that or paste that tag in. And now I'm going to save this, close it, and then what I'll do is I'll go back to VisionWorks, and it's still the basic template that we've used. And what I'm going to do is rerun the PowerPoint presentation, and now we should have that table inserted with the to-do list. Now you'll notice that I didn't bother doing any formatting to that table, so you'll see what it looks like. But you can then go into a PowerPoint presentation and format things like columns, whether they're right aligned, whether the headers are centered in the columns, things like that. And we'll actually do that just so you can get a sense of what you're able to do. But that's just very standard table formatting skills that, are relatively straightforward. So we just page down. Now we've got our protection planning actions table in there. So let's just have a look at this and we'll see what we can do from a formatting point of view. So I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint presentation, bring up the basic template, go to the slide we just created. And one of the things that I want to do is right-click on the slide, select Table, and you'll notice that PowerPoint defaults to 18-point text. So I'm actually going to make this 12-point. I think it's big enough. And the other thing I want to do is I want to center all the headings for the columns. So I'll just select that row, click center, and then what I want to do, at least for the output, not the specific entry, but for the output, I want to right align the content in the columns. And I could do other things like adjust column height, adjust the colors to whatever color scheme you use, etc. But I'm just going to save that now, close it, and then we'll just do a rerun and see what it now looks like formatted. So again, the actual look and feel of the PowerPoint presentation is essentially just using a tag in a table or in a graph, but then going in and doing a formatting so that it's consistent with the look and feel that you want to create. The other thing that we'll do, or one other thing that we'll do momentarily, is we'll actually create a PowerPoint presentation that brings in output from both CorpWorks and TrustWorks. So this is output in a CorpWorks or TrustWorks plan that we're now going to bring into this PowerPoint presentation. And the way we did it was simply in Presentation Builder. Rather than creating tags just for VisionWorks, we created tags for CorpWorks and TrustWorks. So you can see now column headers are centered, column output is right aligned, and so on. So let's integrate this with a CorpWorks and TrustWorks plan. So I've created a solution that I called linked CWTW files. So in order to bring in output from CorpWorks and TrustWorks, you first have to link the plan to a CorpWorks or TrustWorks file. And having done that, I'm going to just select populate CW tags, populate TW tags. Again, I would have to choose the particular file. This is the sample plan, the particular solution, the particular corporation or trust. So I'm going to select ABC here, and then all I'm going to do is run the PowerPoint presentation, and now all the output from CorpWorks and TrustWorks is going to be brought into this PowerPoint presentation. And that actually includes a corporate map and a trust map that I added to the, oh, sorry, I've done, whoops, I have to apologize. I forgot to select the correct template, the one with the actual CorpWorks and TrustWorks content. So we'll have to let this run, and then I'll have to re-select it. Any questions so far?
Yeah, once you create your PowerPoint presentation and you have it perfect, yeah, right.
Yeah.
You save it. Can you then load it onto any other machine that has PowerPoint but does not have VisionWorks to run that PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, that's when you would save it as a PowerPoint presentation. So you're not saving the PowerPoint template, and you're not populating the template from the content in the VisionWorks file. You don't have the VisionWorks file. Right. What you're doing is you're populating, or you're simply running a saved, finished PowerPoint presentation.
So basically what you're doing here, and then we would save it as a PowerPoint. So say the meeting was for Tuesday, so maybe it's Tuesday with the Smiths. We could save it and then put it onto a jump drive, move it over to the laptop to take it with us.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly. Yes, so there's run, which assembles it, or there's save. And save actually assembles it and then allows you to, bring it up and present it. Wonder if this is, since I selected the wrong one, I think we may have just hung, so I'm going to have to end that and we'll start again. I'm not sure. It might still be processing, but we don't want to wait and see that happen. So let's go back and do this again. So I'll go to presentations once again. I'll select the CorpWorks TrustWorks plan, Now I want to switch to the template that has CorpWorks and TrustWorks output, and then of course select these two tags, and then now we'll rerun the PowerPoint presentation. My apologies for that. May have been attempting to assemble, but it's easier just to redo it. Yes, I think most of the time what you'll be doing is not assembling a PowerPoint presentation as we are in front of the client, but rather just creating that PowerPoint presentation and saving it as such. Matter of fact, I've already done that, so I can show it to you later.
Michael?
Yes.
Fabian here. Do you have the ability to extract pretty much any table and or I'll call them fields from within VisionWorks or CorpWorks to tag it into? Okay, so I could create my own report, call it PowerPoint or quote-unquote Word. I wouldn't use Word, but I would use PowerPoint and convert it to instead of a landscape PowerPoint presentation, I could create I don't know if you know what I mean, but a standard financial planning document and populate it with various tags, and essentially use PowerPoint as if it was Word. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I know exactly what you're speaking about. And one of the things, so the work we've been doing since the release in March, which was when we did the budget update, as you may recollect. Let me just scroll down through this and we'll just cover off the corporate and trust output that I put in here. So here we are. Here's the corporate map right out of CorpWorks into this presentation. Here are the dividends that are being paid by ABC Common. We can see different types of dividends with the scale here on the right and obviously the amount. And then after Bill's death, by the way, the dividends continue to sue. Here's the trust map right out of TrustWorks, and then we can see the income beneficiary output, excuse me, again right out of TrustWorks. There are no capital or payments to capital beneficiaries. So we could include or not include that slide, or there might be capital payments, hard to say. But in any event, you can see how we were able to bring that in. So to answer your question, Vivian, we started essentially a 4-phase review of our report. So the first thing was in Presentation Builder, report settings, giving you all that new flexibility around the look and feel of reports. The second thing was automatic PowerPoint presentations, which we feel is more in keeping with a modern approach to presenting plans. It's more conversation with people, keeping the output relatively straightforward, getting away from the paper-based approach, at least in having that overview review with people. What we're working on now is another style of working interactively, which will actually be tied into this options presentations menu. And what it will do is it won't give you the ability to create entries, but it will give you the ability to run what I'll call for now a collaborative mode. And wherever you have existing entries, you'll be able to change them, retire sooner, retire later, and see the impact on the output. And this will be a full screen look to it. And then the fourth phase will be things around reports and reworking of the sections, the order of the sections. And as part of that, what we'll also be looking at is creating Word templates. So it involves a little more than what you've suggested because, the automatic generation of tables of contents and automatic page numbering and things like that. But that's actually on the horizon. But yes, the answer to the question is it will use those tags in order to be able to populate output.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. So I want to show you one other thing. I'm going to open a retirement assessment plan. So here's my sample RA plan. And then I'm in the Earn a Higher Return solution. And what I'm going to do is go to Presentations, and I'm going to select the RA Retirement Assessment template, and I'll use the standard formatting that we've done, and then I'll run the presentation.
Michael?
Yes.
When you came into this one, this was a different file. The source
Yes.
PowerPoint file that you were using before was brought back. Is that what will default? Is whatever you used the last time, it'll bring it back?
Whatever you're using in the way of a template?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. You have to go in and select the template.
Okay.
Is it a VisionWorks basic template, or in this particular plan, are we linked to a CorpWorks and TrustWorks file?
Right. That was what I just wanted to double check.
Yeah.
You
If
had
we
had
are,
that.
then we need to open the template that has the CorpWorks and TrustWorks output, right? Or in this case, it's a retirement assessment. So, for example, in the file we were using before, it's a full cash flow based plan. So I want content from now to life expectancy. But in a retirement assessment plan, all I want is the current net worth, where you're starting from. But also what I want, and you'll see this here, is in a retirement assessment, clients do whatever they do pre-retirement in the way of spending and so on. So we're really just focusing on, will I be okay in retirement? So you can see that these graphs start, in this case, at the retirement year for Bill and Sue. So we're just looking from retirement on. You can even see that I've made the tax return the first year of Bill's retirement, which is 2026. And then again, if we go down and we look at income assets, because this is converting wealth, selling a house, for instance, which they're not doing, I wanted the income assets forecast to be over the course of their lifetime, because maybe they downsize the house pre-retirement, and that adds to their income assets. But when it comes to, will I be okay, I'm focusing just from retirement on now. So the retirement spending plan is for their first year of retirement, for instance. A spending plan over time just covers their retirement years. Same thing here. And again, cash sources in Nisa's table. And the income assets forecast. We're not concerned, what are your income assets between now and retirement. We're merely concerned with what are they going to be at retirement, and then will they last through life expectancy. So again, let me just show you how all of this works. We'll go back quickly to Portfolio Builder. If I selected Output Series, so I'm just going to go down here and select Cash Sources. When I select the table, name it, and then go down and select the cash sources output that I want to include, I can make it actual dollars or today's dollars, and I can say, do I want this from the current year, which is what I did for the basic plan, or do I only want this from the retirement year? So if I'm doing a retirement assessment, I just want to focus on output from retirement on. So you can see you have that choice now with the retirement assessment plan, just to make it from retirement on. That's what's relevant. Now I want to show you one other thing. So I'm actually going to close this, and I'm going to open a plan which just has Bill. So in some cases you'll be dealing with couples. In some cases you'll be dealing with an individual. So this is a Bill-only file. And when I run the PowerPoint presentation, and I'm still going to run the basic retirement assessment template. This is a retirement assessment plan. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this checkbox that says one principal party only. Only Bill, not Bill and Sue. And now when I run the PowerPoint presentation, it's the same presentation as we ran before for Bill and Sue, except this file only has Bill in it, and I've selected the checkbox. So the result is only output will be shown for Bill. Nothing will be shown for a second principal party, not even a blank table, because that principal party doesn't exist in the plan. So I want to make sure that the output is just for Bill. So financial plan for Bill. I could have changed the name, by the way. Starting point, this is Bill only. He doesn't have any liabilities. These are the assets Bill owns. So notice only a Bill column here, not a Bill and Sue. It was automatically reduced to one column. And you'll notice as we go through, we did have different output for Sue, but we don't have that anymore. We skipped all that tax output for a second party because there is no second party in the plan. And now we're just down to output for Bill. So, questions? So let's do a little recap. If we go back to the website, all of the videos are here. So you just go to the VisionWorks menu, Presentation Builder Videos. It'll show you how to adjust report settings. It's very straightforward. And then again, whatever you choose to do in the way of settings will always show on the right in the preview window. So you'll see exactly what the output will look like. And then there are the PowerPoint presentations, and all you need to do is go to Options, Presentations, and you can either run one, select a solution for the particular file, select the template you want to run, and then just run it, or you can simply save it. And just to give you an idea, I've already saved a template, so I'm just going to go to Documents and Vision Systems. This is the default location for PowerPoint presentations. And you can see our templates, but you can also see that I ran a template and just saved it as a PowerPoint file, so I didn't have to assemble it in front of the client. I just wanted to save it, and I could bring it up. And like you said, I've added photos in this one, and it's what we'd be looking at, all the net worth and so on. So you just need to run it, bring it right up, and then display it for people. So the videos will show you exactly what to do. And again, change your report settings, a lot of flexibility. Create your own tags for whatever PowerPoint output or Vision or Corporate output you would like to include in your PowerPoint presentation. You can create virtually anything. Actual dollars, today's dollars, pie graphs with tables from the retirement year through life expectancy, or from the current year through life expectancy, virtually anything you want. You can have tags for people's names, so you just put in the tag for the name, and whatever their name is in that plan will show up. You can create tags for photos. You can do virtually anything with these. You can produce output for joint or just Bill, just Sue. You can even do output for children, RESPs, grandchildren, parents, anything you want. Questions?
I don't have a question, Michael, but I just wanted to comment that this is really a game changer. I think it certainly adds a lot of ability for us to generate whatever kind of report, including PowerPoint presentations and anything else as well.
Yes. Well, what we're working on now, we've reached a point where I'm not sure what more number crunching functionality we'll be adding. Obviously maintaining, tax changes. There being recently a bunch of provincial budgets, so the next release, we're just waiting for Saskatchewan. It came out on the 1st, but we haven't got any details about it yet. So once it's out, then we'll be doing an update that will have all the changes from the recent provincial budget. So we'll be doing, those sorts of things. But now we're focusing more on presentation. And as we've often discussed in the past, the medium of presenting output to clients has always been the written report. And I believe what's relevant is that planning is about learning and decision making. And I believe that there are different ways of presenting to clients that are actually a lot more friendly because they're more conversational. And so bringing up a PowerPoint presentation as an example, or, having it on your laptop and meeting in a client's home and plugging into their big screen TV and running through, sort of core output and core concepts and having a conversation with them, I believe is a lot more engaging and a lot more effective for people.
Agreed. Thanks again.
Any other questions? Well, I want to thank you all for your time today. And as always, of course, if you have any questions as you work through, and please play the videos. I think you'll find it pretty straightforward. But if you have any questions as you get hands-on, please let us know. So thank you again for your time today.
Thanks, Michael. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.